Welcome to this explainer. Today we're doing something really cool. We are tackling a subject that is profoundly misunderstood. We're going to look right past the surface of ancient Eastern rituals to discover the highly disciplined psychological and physical sciences operating underneath. We are examining the hidden mechanics of mantra sadhana and yagya, and trust me, the level of engineering involved here is truly fascinating.
For generations, we've kind of just looked at these ancient practices through the lens of dogmatic belief or mere religious tradition. We see people chanting or sitting by a fire, and we think, well, that's a nice cultural tradition based on blind faith, right? But today, we're going to break down the meticulous mechanics that actually make these rituals function. As you'll see, this isn't about blind faith at all. It is an incredibly precise, structured science.
So here's our roadmap for today. First, we'll cover the foundation of mantra science. Second, circles of emotion and sound. Third, the scientific transformation of personality. Fourth, yagya, a precise process. And finally, why is discipline necessary?
All right, part 1, the foundation of mantra science.
To kick things off, let's get one thing straight. Mastering a mantra, it's not some overnight magic trick or instant miracle. Tapping into the true power of a mantra requires long-term, rigorous practice, intense focus, and honestly, immense physical endurance. The practitioner literally has to prep their mind and body to handle a massive influx of energy. And here is where the mechanics get really interesting. Continuous repetition of a mantra creates two incredibly powerful overlapping circles of momentum. First, you have the bhav vritta, or the circle of emotion. Think of this as a continuous, unbroken flow of pure intention. Second, you have the dhvani vritta, the circle of sound. This is an actual enveloping force field created by the specific acoustic pronunciation of the syllables.
Moving on to part 2, circles of emotion and sound.
So how do these two elements, the internal emotion and the external sound, actually function mechanically when you put them into continuous motion? Well, think about the physical laws of our universe. If you draw a straight line far enough across a globe, it eventually becomes a circular orbit. Or think about rough, jagged stones sitting in a fast-flowing river. Over time, that relentless current rounds them out into perfectly smooth spheres. This is exactly what the constant repetition of a mantra does. By repeating specific sounds in a highly prescribed order for an extended time, you generate a fierce, inescapable circular momentum. It literally turns linear effort into a massive, self-sustaining orbit of energy.
And this circular momentum doesn't just fizzle out into thin air. It gets so intense and generates such gravity that it actually grips the practitioner's entire personality. Your internal emotions, that bhav, perfectly merge with the external sounds, the dhvani. It acts almost like an energetic mold. The consciousness of the human being gets caught up in this overlapping sphere, allowing the practitioner to literally mold their personality into whatever desired state they're aiming for.
Which brings us to part 3, scientific transformation of personality.
Let's look at how this plays out in real life, because this dual circle mechanism isn't just theoretical. By generating this intense force field, a practitioner can actively erase deep-seated character flaws and even cure physical and mental ailments. It amplifies virtues, it restores health. Actually, the source text compares this fierce capacity to Vishnu's Sudarshan chakra, which is this legendary unstoppable spinning disc. This momentum can even get so powerful that it shifts and reverses the flow of negative external circumstances in someone's life. Basically, when executed correctly, a mantra is literally like a heavy-duty bulldozer. It just plows right through the chaotic cycle of daily desires, actions, and consequences. It cuts away mental chains and worldly obstacles, carving a direct, undeniable path to ultimate spiritual freedom, or Jivan Mukti. It's the ultimate tool for achieving self-realization.
Part 4, yagya, a precise process.
Now let's shift gears away from the internal mental engine and examine its physical counterpart. We're going to look at the highly specific external physical blueprint of the yagya, the traditional fire ritual. A huge misconception here is that a yagya is just a pleasant ceremony where you burn incense to make the air smell nice. That could not be further from the truth. It is critical to understand that yagya is an exact physical science. It's the external, physical extension of the internal mantra practice. And because of that, the tools, the materials, and the fire itself cannot just be gathered randomly.
To give you an idea of how meticulous this is, just look at the surgical steps required simply to prepare the wood, known as samhita. You can't just toss random logs into a fire pit. You have to gather wood from specific branches of specific pure trees. You have to chop it with a consecrated axe at a very specific, auspicious time. Then the wood is washed with pure water, dried meticulously in the shade, and finally consecrated with life force before it ever touches a flame. It's an incredibly demanding chemical and spiritual preparation. And here is a totally surprising twist that really highlights just how scientific this whole thing is. You can never, ever ignite a yagya fire with a regular modern matchstick. Why? Well, the head of a modern matchstick contains phosphorus and often uses animal bone ash. Striking that match releases foul-smelling, impure chemical compounds that completely ruin the chemical and energetic purity of the entire process, right from the very first spark. The scientific baseline of the ritual is literally destroyed instantly.
It doesn't stop at the wood either. The practitioner basically becomes part of this precise laboratory setup. They must bathe and wear specific pure clothes. The vessels used for offerings aren't just decorative. They have to adhere to exact geometric shapes, sizes, and materials. The fire has to be established with a proper witness and consecration process, and there is strict, unyielding adherence to the prescribed sequence of every single offering. No exceptions.
Finally, part 5. Why is discipline necessary?
So, why all these extreme, uncompromising rules in every single step? It actually shifts our whole perspective when you realize the answer, because this is a scientific mechanism and not just a casual social gathering. Breaking the rules isn't viewed as a sin. Actually, scratch that. It's more like a procedural error. If you're running a high-level chemistry experiment and you use the wrong compound, the experiment fails, or worse, it explodes. Same deal here. Cutting corners or acting arbitrarily won't just waste all your intense effort. It can actually cause undesirable, adverse energetic reactions in your life and mind.
As we wrap up this explainer, I want to leave you with this to chew on. If organizing our external world with such extreme surgical precision, down to the way we chop wood and avoid phosphorus, can harness such incredible energy and transform our physical environment, imagine what applying that exact same level of unwavering discipline can do to liberate our own chaotic consciousness. Thank you so much for joining me to unpack the science of mantra sadhana and yagya. Keep asking questions, keep looking beneath the surface, and I'll see you on the next explainer.